your own insurance company will deal with the claim against you. The legal help doesn't make any difference. The legal help's there if you have an accident that's not your fault. And what your insurance company will then do is refer you to an independent solicitor to act for you. But that solicitor will often be miles away from where you live, will have some form of connection with the insurance company, meaning that perhaps it's not as independent as it might be. I've always advised people that I know not to take the legal help. It's normally £20–25, something like that.
Yes.
And what the legal help gives you, you can actually get from an independent solicitor anyway.
You can get it from you.
Yeah, I have to say, I've never taken legal cover with any of my car insurance policies, and I wouldn't generally advise other people to either.
Because recently, I mean, last year I had an accident. I was thinking I've got the legal help. It was not my fault, and I contacted the insurance company. I thought maybe they're gonna help me in a way. No one cared about my case. They advised me go for 50-50. I mean, they didn't want to spend any time helping me, and I had the legal help anyway.
Никой няма да ви помогне така, както собствения ви адвокат.
Да, предполагаме. Така и вече поне знам от тук нататък за legal help, когато видя в застраховката какво да направя. Ако се отиде, ако има катастрофа, по-сериозна повреда на колата, някои коли струват доста скъпо, ако са по-нови, ако вие имате някакви здравословни проблеми, като whiplash или кръста боли, тогава какво следва? Колко време отнема това разследване, нещата? Той, примерно, става днес, той ви контактува, какви са следващите стъпки, които човек трябва да направи?
Да, всеки случай е много индивидуален и тъй като инцидент с инцидент не си прилича и съответно физиологията на хората е различна. Може един безобиден на вид инцидент да се окаже с много последствия за вас, а за друг да бъде съвсем без усложнения и без проблеми. Тъй като ние никога също не можем да преценим какво е нараняването на клиента, организираме срещи с медицинско лице, за да може да се установи степента и сложността на нараняването. С автомобилите е сходна ситуацията. Инженер идва да направи инспекция, за да може да направи подробен рапорт на щетите, които са нанесени на превозното средство. И оттам да може да се прецени каква ще бъде вашата компенсация и съответно да покрие щетите на превозното средство.
Sometimes you're not the driver, but you're in the car and the accident happens. Then do you have any protection? Can you claim something if you have some issues with your health after the accident?
It's actually easier to claim as a passenger than it is as a driver, because if you think about it, it's very rare that a passenger could be blamed for causing the accident. There can often be disputes between two drivers over how an accident's happened, but if you're sitting in the passenger seat or one of the rear seats, unless you've grabbed the steering wheel or something silly, you can't be blamed for causing the accident. So as a general rule, as a passenger in a car, where you're injured, you almost have a guaranteed claim. You will receive compensation from one or both of the insurers, depending upon who's caused the accident. So the rules are effectively the same. If you've suffered an injury through somebody else's negligence, you are entitled to claim, and as a passenger, any injury that you suffer is almost always because of somebody else's wrongdoing.
Да питаме Мария, много често стават катастрофи, другата страна е виновна на пръв поглед, дори си и признава, че имат вина. После вие почвате да контактувате техните адвокати и те променят своята история. Било те са контактували други адвокати или ако работят за фирма, тяхната компания и тогава вие не знаете какво да правите. Уж не сте виновен, но нямате никакви доказателства, никакви права в този случай. В такъв случай човек какво трябва да направи?
Често срещан сценарий.
Да.
Затова в началото на нашия разговор споменах, че е важно да се вземе по възможност снимка от месторазположението на автомобилите, защото тя показва какво е било положението и много често кой е бил виновен за този инцидент. Също така адвокатът в този случай ще може да ви помогне, ако ответната страна променя своето мнение, своята позиция. Адвокатът, в който имате доверие и който е добре запознат с вашия случай, ще може да ви помогне, за да се разгледа този случай по такъв начин, че да бъде спечелен и да бъде във ваша полза, доколкото е възможно.
Особено ако не сте англичанин и не знаете добре английски, и другата страна може да използва това смисъл да каже другия човек, негова вината и вие ако не може да напишете едно правилно писмо или да се обадите и да говорите, те смятат, че вие няма да може да се справите в съд и някак си ще ви пренебрегнат. Но ако използвате адвокат и той напише писма, свържи се с тях. Ако има местото на происшествието, ако има камери някъде на улицата, трябва ли човек да погледне, има ли камери, да разбере нещо, да може да помогнат в случая?
Да, камерите не винаги успяват да заснемат самия инцидент, но ако има такава, си заслужава да се обърне внимание, да се спомене за наличието на такава камера, за да може вече ние да се свържем с общината или собственика на камерата и да попитаме дали е възможно да ни разрешат да ползваме видеоматериала.
Защото аз имах, как споменах, този инцидент, който имах и тогава се оказа, че много оживено кръстовище в центъра на Лондон. Не знаех, че може да си поискаш от Data Protection Act да платиш някакви средства за ти да видеозаписа и това, доколкото знаем, 1 месец или колко се пазят тези камери. Но никой, потърсики адвокати, потърсики други хора, никой не ме посъветва. И там после вече в случая нямах записа и се оказа, че понеже нямах свидетели, не може да докаже. Значи това е важно и адвоката какво ще ви посъветва да намерите правилно.
Запазването на самообладание в такъв един момент е много важно, защото понякога под въздействието на адреналина или притеснението, стреса, не забелязвате наличието на камери или свидетели. Ето защо бих посъветвала, доколкото е възможно, участника в едно такова происшествие да се опита да бъде спокоен и да вземе колкото се може повече данни и информация от мястото и от другите участници в случая в инцидента.
Let me ask Paul, sometimes there is accident that a car just doesn't stop at all, they just disappear. Sometimes you manage to find, to record the number, to write it somewhere, but if this happens and you don't know what the other person's name is, the registration, what you can do in this case, especially if your car is damaged or you've got some health issues.
Sure, absolutely. You certainly can still make a claim in those circumstances. If you don't know who the other driver is, you can't identify the other vehicle. So long as you can prove that there was an accident and that you were injured through a road accident, you can make a claim against an organisation called Motor Insurers Bureau. The MIB was established in 1946 by agreement between the Department of Transport and the motor insurance industry. MIB's primary aim is to compensate the victims of uninsured or untraced drivers. The rules are quite exhaustive in terms of who can claim and who can't, but generally speaking, if you've been injured through the negligence of a person that's either uninsured or untraceable, as a general rule, you can make a claim for compensation. The procedure is similar to that with a conventional insurance claim. It's a little different. There are excesses that apply to the claim that you can make, but you're certainly still entitled to compensation, so long as you can demonstrate that your injury or your loss in certain circumstances arose from a genuine road traffic accident.
And what about if the other party is drunk, for instance, or under influence of, narcotics or something? What is the case then? Because a friend of mine had an accident, even the other party was drunk. He tried to disappear with the car, the police called him, and the car was gone. They couldn't repair it, and it took very, very long time to be... Is it more difficult if the other party is...
Not generally, no. If the other party is drunk or driving whilst inhibited through drugs, if the police are involved and the police arrest the other driver, as a general rule, that actually makes the claim easier. Because if the other person is drunk, they've done something wrong. It doesn't follow automatically that if you're drunk, the accident was your fault, but more often than not, because of how drink affects how people drive, the person that is drunk often has caused the accident. It might cause a difficulty between the drunk driver and his insurance company, but that won't make any difference to the injured party. The injured party still is entitled to make the same claim against the drunk's insurance company. Sometimes there might be a slight delay whilst the insurance company investigate the other driver. There might be some difficulties with the operation of the other driver's insurance policy, but the law is clear in that doesn't affect the claim that the injured person can still make.
Питам нещо, Мария, нещо, което е по-познато за България, за Съветския съюз, бившите държави, всичките, използването на камери, които записват всичко докато шофираш. Дали това нещо е в полза, дали си заслужава, защото инвестицията не е толкова голяма. Някои от тях струва 30-40 паунда, дори дали би било в полза на клиента и във ваша полза човека, ако има такава камера при едни происшествия.
Да, със сигурност те стават все повече и повече популярни и много водачи на превозни средства решават да поставят една такава камера. Разбираемо е. Да.
Съда ги признава, смисъл, записа от тях се признава пред.
В момент ще попитам Пол, тъй като не съм точно сигурна, но при всички положения застрахователя би погледнал върху репортаж от една такава камера и това би било в ваша полза, ако сте невинен, разбира се.
We're talking about the camcorders, which some cars now, they're inside the cars. Can this help you if you have accidents in the court or at all?
Absolutely, yeah, incredibly helpful. The more people have cameras in their cars, the easier my job's going to be. Because the cameras in cars can be used in court. The evidence that comes from the cameras in cars, fitted in cars, is extremely helpful. So yes, absolutely, it's an excellent way to protect yourself in terms of accidents that don't have any witnesses involved, where you have one driver's word against another. The other driver leaves the scene, then changes his mind about how the accident occurs and lies. If you have no witnesses, it can be very difficult to prove that what you're saying is correct. If you have a camera in your car, either front-mounted and front-facing or rear-mounted and rear-facing, that can often prove how the accidents occurred, and that's completely admissible, usable in court, and is incredibly helpful evidence.
That's good to know, because I had friends who had accident, and quite often the people think, oh, if someone hits me at the back of the car, I mean, it's actually, if they hit you at the back, it's his fault. But sometimes the scenario is different. This friend, then the driver changed the story, said, you changed the lanes, you've done emergency stopping. Even if it's not this, then you think, oh, it's in trouble.
There can be many cases where being hit from behind looks straightforward, but isn't necessarily. As you say, a classic example might be someone who changes lanes on a roundabout or on a dual carriageway. If you change lanes in front of someone and then brake, and the person hits you, it's probably not their fault. Yes, they've hit you from behind, but they've done that because you've moved straight in front of them and then braked. In this day and age, it's quite common for a driver who hits you from behind to argue that you've braked unnecessarily. It's a bit of a flavour of the month. It's what insurance companies like to argue at the moment. And if you have cameras front and rear, particularly if you're about to move onto a roundabout, you see a car coming from the right, it's safe to brake. The driver behind thinks you are going to pull onto the roundabout, so he's going forward as well, and he hits you from behind. The driver behind will sometimes say, you stopped unnecessarily. There was nobody coming. You didn't have to stop. If you have a camera in your car, facing forwards, that camera is going to show the vehicle passing that you've stopped for. So you're absolutely right, even the most straightforward accident circumstances can be disputed, and if you have some evidence from an onboard camera, it's going to help you considerably.
That's good to know. As I said earlier, I had accidents last year, and I know that one of them, it was not my fault at all. The accident was very, very small, just the wind mirror, and said, oh, the driver admitted. I said, I don't need to worry. The next day, he changed the story, and I had to end up paying a few £100 for the mirror, and I couldn't prove it because I didn't look for any witness. And now I decided to put the cameras, and the way where I drive is safer. I don't need to worry.
I think a very important point to bear in mind is that the law in England and Wales requires the person making the claim to prove the claim. It's not sufficient to simply say he caused the accident and this is how he did it. If he says, no, I didn't, and there aren't any witnesses, what have you proven? So you actually have to physically prove your claim on the balance of probability. All right? On the balance of probability, he caused this accident. And if it's just two drivers with two different versions of events and no witnesses, that can be very difficult. Video evidence from the car substantiates your version of events, and in the majority of cases will be enough to prove the accident happened as you said it did. Very, very important.
To ask you something about the insurances, especially for the Bulgarians coming here, have to fill all these forms, answer this question. Sometimes they are not quite sure what to answer. Sometimes they may tick something, thinking, oh, won't be a problem. What you can advise the people filling the insurance form and telling the truth or not telling? What can happen if you lie how many years you've been driving and what your claim used to be, if you try to hide claims in the past, some people, they don't admit having claims in these cases?
Yeah, it's extremely, extremely dangerous to be anything other than completely honest on your insurance proposal form. If you've had an accident before, or you have 3 points for speeding on your licence, it's probably not going to make a huge difference to your insurance premium. It will make a bit of a difference. But if you lie to your insurance company, or you forget to tell them something, and then you have an accident, and the insurance company finds out that when you filled in your proposal form you weren't honest, the consequences can be very serious. In many cases, the insurance company doesn't have to cover you. So you've had an accident that was your fault, and the other person's making a claim against you. But if your insurance company find that you've been less than honest in relation to your driving history or your claims history, the insurance company can kick your claim out completely. They still have to pay the claim from the driver that you injured, but they will then come after you for reimbursement for everything they've spent out. So you can find yourself, for the sake possibly of £50 saving in premium by forgetting a claim you've made before, you can find yourself having to repay to the insurance company thousands of pounds in compensation and legal costs, because the insurance company, understandably, are going to look for reasons why they haven't got to pay this claim, and if you give them a reason, they'll take it. So always, always be very, very truthful.